all incarcerated individuals in Montana. To use the platform that you have and to personally commit to making Montana a more equitable and loving state for all. Do not ignore the hard topics. Do not stay silent in the face of injustice. Use your voice until together we start a chorus that cannot be ignored. Fight for the future you want to see. Or, as one of our finest justices once said, fight for the things that you care about, but do it in a way that will lead others to join you. Thank you.
Let's hear it for Chad. Oh, good.
Next up, we've got fellow that's running for the Cascade County Commission. This guy's got the perfect name. His name is Jim Stone. So when he travels so close, because his last name is Stone. But in his real life, he's a business agent for the people. You know what that means? You know what that means?
Here, hold this.
Rights for the workers and women in this country. I give you Jim Stone. Thanks, John. I really appreciate it. Hey, that was a great speech by Jasmine. Jasmine's really looking forward to getting your votes and getting out there. So, as John said, I'm a Teamster business representative, and one of the things I do is deal with a lot of different county commissioners from over in Roosevelt Valley County, all the way to Stevens County.
Do it this way.
all over the state.
I want the department out.
Yeah.
A lot of things that go on in different counties with the people we represent. A lot of the people we represent are anywhere from a
Back row first?
court to
Yep.
road and bridge guys to defenders off and these kinds of things. And these are the things that need to be fixed. These are the things that you're good in life,
Yeah.
trying to get a license, trying to get your, I'm sorry, not your license, but trying to get your license plate for your cars and those kinds of things. Things that need to be fixed that the county commissioners can address. And they're not really addressing those. We need to turn this county back to blue. Hasn't been blue in 20 years. And with my opponents, I don't really hear much from
Make
my
sure they
opponents.
see it.
Yeah, they keep
Pretty quiet. You hear a lot from the other two commissioners, but you don't really hear much from my opponent. And I think we need to replace him, bring somebody in there that's going to represent the workers, try and fix the roads in Cascade.
Endorsed by Bullock right here. Child porn.
We've got a lot of things going on right now in Cascade County, just with Expo Park itself, and also with this upcoming slaughterhouse that they want to build. These are the kind of things that we need to address to make sure they're trying to get this done. Not really sure we can do it, but we need to do it right.
See ya.
And a lot of things that these places like to get is tax abatements and those kinds of stuff. I hear a lot of problems with this slaughterhouse.
Hi.
Water issues, the infrastructure. You know, and when people talk about infrastructure, they talk about things like roads and bridges and those kinds of things. Well, infrastructure includes your housing, your stores, your schools. These are the things that we don't have to put out 3,000 jobs. We don't have the availability of the people, and so they're going to have to import people. We don't know what these people are going to be like, but you know what?
Okay, go
We
slow,
welcome
keep it
them, but we don't have the infrastructure right now. So let's look at this thing with the slaughterhouse, really get out there.
Endorsed by
talk more about
Bullock, child porn.
one meeting that I know of. I know the planning board has had quite a few meetings on it, but as far as public meetings
There you
to
go. So I keep
hear
your
what
distance, go
the
slow.
public has to say and what they want to see with this thing, we need to have more meetings, talk about things, more transparency. We're not getting transparency with these commissioners. I think that's a big issue with this county, and we need to have more of that.
Yeah, I'll go over here.
And with that being said, you're not here to listen to me. You've got a lot of people here to talk. I really appreciate your vote. And come on, let's get Cascade County back to blue. For Jim Stone! Next up,
Teacher of the Year. Spent damn near 2 decades in the classroom. Incredible teacher. And unlike the person
Endorsed
seated
by
against you,
Bullock.
understands the value of
Child porn.
So please welcome Melissa.
Racism against natives.
Come on down.
Ah. Endorsed by Bullock Child Porn. He endorsed it this year. Department of Corrections employees. Huh? Endorsed by Steve Bullock. Child porn this year, 2020. 74 Department of Corrections employees.
And a very proud public school teacher. I have been an educator for over 16 years now. I am a nationally recognized teacher. I'm also Montana's 2018 Teacher of the Year.
Endorsed by Bullock.
And I am running to be your next state superintendent because it is time to restore competent and focused leadership to the Office of Public Instruction. You know, this race is not just about schools. This is about our children. This is about our children's future and the future of Montana. This is about ensuring that every student has access to a quality public education that our state constitution guarantees them.
Endorsed by
This
Bullock
is about
Child
growing
porn.
our economy. It's about recruiting and retaining passionate, qualified educators across every community in Montana. This is also about ensuring that our children grow up to be loving and tolerant neighbors who understand how to look at the world through other perspectives. And this is about creating a more just and equitable society for future generations because we cannot expect our country or state to change if our kids are being denied access to a quality public education. Now, I have a vision for Montana, and I'll tell you, my vision does not include a state superintendent who only cares about students who attend private schools. My vision does not include a state superintendent who is absent and missing from our state legislative session. And I'll tell you, my vision definitely does not include a state superintendent who supports and applauds cutting funding from our public schools because her friend, billionaire Education Secretary Betsy DeVos asked her to. You know, we couldn't count on my opponent, Elsie Arson, to stand up first in the best of times. We certainly cannot rely on her now when the stakes are so high. Even our teachers know that she does not have their best interest at heart. To date, only one working public school teacher has given to her campaign. It's time to show Elsie Arnton the exit door. I can't wait to wake up and advocate for our students and to move Montana forward. Now more than ever, we need a leader at the Office of Public Instruction. We need a leader every day and work to protect and promote quality public education in Montana. We need a leader who is a strong and vocal advocate for all kids, from our 4-year-olds to our 21-year-olds, especially at the legislature when it comes to funding our public schools. And we
need a leader who truly understands the day-to-day challenges that our school community face.
I'll just stand right there. Stand right there.
To do everything in our power to send my opponent packing. We can't afford to fail. Make sure you are voting. Make sure you have a plan to vote. Make sure your friends and family have a plan to vote.
Huh?
Keep making phone calls.
Some of the people. Yeah.
Decorate your bumpers with stickers and donate. Our time is now to take this seat back. Let's move forward boldly together and create a brighter future for everyone.
That is a superintendent of public instruction that understands that public schools are the foundation of our democracy. Let's give it up again for Melissa Romano. Next up, we've got Shane Morgell. And Shane is running for state auditor. And you might ask yourself, what is the auditor? He doesn't audit much. The fact of the matter is the state auditor is otherwise known as the insurance commissioner. And he stands up for folks, the citizens who have to have insurance, which is all of us, okay? So if you have a problem with insurance, you get a hold of Shane Morgell after January, because when he gets sworn into this job, he will be the next state auditor. Shane has a Juris Doctorate, that's right, he's a lawyer. He's smart, he's good, and he's somebody that cares about the consumer. Give it up for Shane Morgell.
Where's Lori go? Where's Lori? Oh.
Well, good evening, Great Falls. How you doing tonight? My name is Shane Morgell, and I'm your Democratic nominee for Montana State Auditor. And it's so nice to be with you all tonight. I grew up in Ronan, down the road, bucking bales and changing pipe for my neighbors. And I'm really excited to be out here in Cascade County, getting the opportunity to speak to all of you. But before I get started, I want to ask you all a quick question. If you have car insurance, honk your horn. So I think I heard mostly everybody honk their horn. At least you should have, because it's sort of the law. But the point of that is that insurance touches our lives in so many different ways. And this office regulates all the insurance and securities industries in Montana. And so it's important that we have a consumer protection advocate in this office for all of you. Now, I want to talk to you a little bit about a personal story and why I decided to run for this office. During the last legislative session, I carried a bill to extend the statute of limitations for child sex abuse victims. And guess who the only opposition was to that legislation? Insurance companies. And so for me, that opened my eyes and taught me and showed me that these companies really are putting their financial interests over all of us, over our families and our friends. And so we need a consumer protection advocate to step up and do something.
There's a sign posted in the DOC that has these individuals listed there that were rewarded by Steve Bullock in the department entrance at the Department of Corrections in Helena.
And so it's important that we have
all these employees that have been involved in 74 are listed on those same, they elevated through the ranks. These are the reason why Native people cannot get out of prison. It's all document, it's fact.
So we all know that representation matters. And I was proud to work in the last legislature to reauthorize Medicaid expansion with all these great people that you're going to see come up here today. And when we have a group of people that are working together, we get a lot of things done.
Yeah, I go like that.
Medicaid expansion passed last session to get people access in Montana, over 100,000 Montanans access to health care. So let's talk for all these great candidates that we're going to have.
This chemical, firefighter GL38, was the antifreeze on July 28, 2019.
great candidates that are going to come up here.
There
and
was a
talk to you
chemical
today.
spill. They pushed it out the
There's a
door.
major contrast between these
They
guys.
injured employees with
My
chemical
point,
burns. They told them that it was non-toxic
literally
whatsoever.
a
You could
guardian that
swallow it,
handles
touch it, do whatever.
And
They
to make
allowed
matters
it to
worse,
be
he's already
in the
talking
food,
to
in the
the
pasta
department
dishes.
heads.
This is Marco's Bullchild, a member of Opening Doors who worked there at the time, and his own brother Mario Bullchild
Based on your gender.
jumped on board with Sean and Rothwell, Mark Rothwell, the fire department, and all these individuals right here that are listed covered up this chemical spill here in at Boston's here in Great Falls at 1101 7th Street South, right next to Gus and Jack's Big O Tires. And they are also co-owners of Big O Tires and Sunrock Development Inc. And they were all on site when this chemical spill happened, and they ignored the safety data sheet that gives specific instructions regarding the disposal of first aid and not to dump it on land.
How can we trust somebody to look out for all of you and to hold industry
This spot is still there today.
when he hold himself accountable?
Chemical burns as a result.
So representation
This is it
matters.
today.
That's why all of you need an independent voice and a consumer protection advocate that's looking out for Montanans. And so if you want an advocate that is not going to look out for insurance industry's interests, but look out for your interests as Montanans, honk your horn. If you want a state auditor that's going to protect Montanans with pre-existing conditions, protect seniors, and protect veterans in Montana, honk your horn. If you want a state auditor that's going to travel the state and provide educational forums to educate Montana on their rights, honk your horn. And if you want a state auditor that's always going to vote to protect our public lands on the state land board, honk your horn. I want to thank all of you for coming out tonight, and I want to thank all of our great volunteers. So please, please, give a honk for all of the great volunteers who have come out here and busted their butts. Thank all of you, and visit Shameful, Montana to learn more and to chip in to help us down the stretch. Thank you all.
People have to know what these people did to them.
This guy's going to go away with gender neutral insurance. Yeah? Charge women more.
Sean and Rothwell, co-owner of Boston's Pizza and Sports Bar here in Great Falls, Montana. Allowed firefighter GL38 and antifreeze to be administered in the pasta dishes on July 28, 2019 from 6 p.m. till closing. Mario Bullchild also allowed this to go in the food and be served to the public. Mark Rothwell also allowed this to be in the food and served to the public. Casey Mitchell, Tom Jarvis, Matt Jarvis.
Let me tell you a little story. Here a few months ago, about a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago.
General Manager Robert, co-owner Leanne, Shauna Rothwell's sister.
And Rafe was there representing the governor's office. And they all gave speeches, myself included. And you know who gave the best speech, the most meaningful?
We addressed these issues to Bullock's administration, and they did nothing.
For you. Does anyone out there have a ballot? Did you get a ballot? Did anyone out there vote their ballot?
So if anybody was sick on July 28, 2019, that ate at Boston's from 6 p.m. to closing, you ingested firefighter GL38 antifreeze that was in the sprinkler system at Boston's.
It is so good to be here with you tonight. I'm your
This
nominee
pipe
for
was
Attorney
left
General, and
open
I gotta
months
say, tonight
after
is a bit of a homecoming
the spill
for me.
happened, still exposing the chemical to the food that's in the freezer.
It's been there for my family.
OSHA guidelines require you
17
to
months ago,
cap that hole
I announced my
and make sure
campaign
that
for
all the
Attorney
food that
General.
was contaminated
And in
get
17
disregarded,
days,
but
where
they
you
served it
finished
to
that
the
campaign
public
with a victory on November
here in
3rd.
Great Falls, Montana. People that were affected by it were church people,
why your advocacy in the Attorney General's
elders,
race
children,
means so much.
families.
Why this year, the Attorney General's race is so important in particular.
They put profit
And to
over
do that, I'm gonna
public
need your
safety.
help. You have your horns ready?
Great Falls Fire Department was responsible for this chemical,
So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions that I think bear and draw into focus what's
and they did
at stake
nothing.
in the AG race this
They
year.
allowed this to happen
What
and
I want
allowed
you to do is I want you to
the
think
public
about
to
the people in your
ingest this
life
chemical.
that you love. The people in your life that you would do anything for. If you know someone, if you love someone who has survived cancer, honk your horn. If you love someone who struggles with their weight, with diabetes, with heart disease, honk
These are the
your horn.
companies responsible for this chemical spill
If
and
you love someone who struggles with addiction,
endangering the
mental
public
illness,
by
honk your
allowing
horn.
them to ingest the chemical that was in the food.
I feel for you. I've been
This is
there.
not
My
okay.
family has had those challenges too.
They need to
But
be
I'm
shut
also
down.
here with a message for you that you need to know. There is a lawsuit in the U.S. Supreme Court right now that's been brought by Republican attorneys general. And what they want to do is they want to take the struggles and the successes of the people that you love, and they want to turn those into an excuse for insurance companies to take away their health care. It's wrong, and we need to stop it. I'll tell you what, you're going to hear about this lawsuit up and down the ballot. It matters in every single race this election, but you need to know it was Republican attorneys general that started this lawsuit, and if we do our jobs, get our ballots, and it'll be Democratic attorneys general who end this lawsuit.
That's not their land though.
I'm running against one of the
It's
most
fucking native
extreme
land, not theirs.
Republicans ever to seek public office in Montana.
They weren't born into that. They fucking stole it.
Knudsen said the entire reason that he's running for attorney general is he wants to join this lawsuit. Think about that. He wakes up in the morning, he brushes his teeth, and he goes out to campaign to take health care away from people that we love, to not heal the sick. That's his mission. And that's why it's so important.
It's their mission too.
to talk to our friends,
The Cascade County
our family
Detention
members,
Center,
folks that don't always vote, folks who
as of
don't
June this year,
until they
had
vote in the
infected
Attorney General's
COVID
race,
inside the
this
prisons.
fall to stop that lawsuit.
There are 28. There are over 28 inmates in each pod that are in the institution that are infected. The guards are the major contributors to this infection. They enter the facilities and they come out and spread it to the public through their families, through going to stores or other events that they attend while they're not on shift at these institutions.
Now here's a fun issue folks don't always know the AG has a say in. Anyone here have a driver's license? Good, you should all honk. So the Attorney General oversees that too. And I released a plan just 2 weeks ago to make it so that you can go online to renew your driver's license. You can go online and get your car title so you can get in, get out, and get on with it.
And the majority of the people that these people fed this chemical to are white church people,
I'll tell you, I've seen polling.
people with organizations that help
We are so close.
disabled,
And to be honest with you,
that help children,
it will come down to what you do in Great Falls
elderly.
that will determine if we win or lose this race. Can I count on your help? Can I count on you to vote for Mike Swaybill for Attorney General? How's your home? Can I count on you to get your friends and your family to vote for Mike Swaybill? How's your home? You vote for all these Democrats up here. How's your home? Thank you. God bless you. Good night.
everybody. Don't leave me. And did I hear this right? Your opponent wants to strip away health care from people with pre-existing conditions. He wants to take away health care from people who are 26 years old and younger that are on their parents' health care. He wants to impose lifetime caps, so when you need insurance the most, you don't have it because you get those caps. Why the hell would anybody vote for him? Vote for Now the next person up is somebody that I served with in the state legislature. So
This entire campaign
he's running for Secretary of State.
was aware of the census issue that was in the Department of Corrections. We've been addressing this to them since April. They had 2 opportunities,
We need that first year because the person that's in that job right
2
now
extensions, and they
is
did
about as
nothing.
political as anybody I've ever seen. And
The
I said
deadline
that
was
to the
last night.
legislature, too.
They did
So It will
nothing.
be great to have Bryce Bennett as our next Secretary of State. Give it up for Bryce Bennett!
The Montana tribes are going to miss out on $80 million this census cycle because they took no action. They're worried about fundraising for their campaign, but that money from that campaign can help the families throughout Montana who are struggling because of the pandemic. Look at all this equipment that they have.
I'm a 5th generation Montanan. I'm a state senator. I'm a voting rights advocate. And with your help, I will be Montana's next Secretary of State. I grew up in a small town in eastern Montana called Hysham. Hysham is like a lot of other small towns across this state. There was barely 400 people there when I lived there, and the school fit kindergarten through high school down one hallway. As you can imagine, partisan politics doesn't come up very much when folks up the road need help changing their irrigation pipes or when there's sandbags that need to be filled to make sure that your neighbor's house doesn't flood. You just do the work because your community and your neighbors are counting on you. That's the reason I got involved in politics in the first place. Got involved by registering people to vote, going out in knee-deep snow and pouring rain to make sure that every single Montanan, every eligible Montana voter has their say.
Gus and Jack's, Big O Tires, Boston's Pizza, and Sunrock Development Inc.
Sadly, I don't
are all
see a lot of
involved
those
in
values
covering up
reflected in the
this
Capitol today.
chemical spill, along with the management team.
Politicians who use important offices like the one I'm running for as stepping stones or political trophies.
Causing chemical
and
burns.
Seen the worst of that over the last 4 years.
Claiming this chemical is non-toxic whatsoever, that you can drink it, touch it, and do whatever.
With corruption and incompetence.
Shauna Rothwell's own words.
Whether it's handing out big government contracts to some of their biggest donors, hiring some of their own family members into the office, criminal abuse of state-owned vehicles, an absolute failure to plan for the attacks on our democracy that COVID-19 would provide. This office has become an absolute mess. But the good news, folks, is that this November we can clean up that mess. Are you all ready to clean up this mess? Folks, we need a Secretary of State that will be an advocate for our outdoor heritage. From hunting and fishing to hiking and biking, our values and our outdoor economy are in the hands of our landlord. You know, I grew up.
We contacted the health department here in Cascade County. They did nothing. We contacted OSHA. We contacted Tester's office. They did nothing. We let them know that this chemical went into the food and it was served to the public, and they did nothing. We reached out to the fire departments here in Great Falls, and they did nothing. We reached out to the labor department. They did nothing.
The special interests that are trying to sell off our public lands to the highest bidder. And folks, you gotta believe me when I tell you this, because it's gonna sound unreal. But when a reporter asked my opponent about her vision for the land board, she told them that she wasn't well versed on what the land board even does. And folks, we cannot trust somebody to protect access to our public lands, our favorite places, to hike and hunt and fish and explore, if after 4 years serving in that office, she doesn't even know what the job is. Are you all ready to elect a Secretary of State that will ensure that our public lands always stay in public hands? And of course, the Secretary of State is the defender of our democracy. The person that makes sure that every single one of you has your voice heard on Election Day. And despite the fact that my opponent has spent the last 4 years doing everything that she possibly could to put barriers between voters and their ballots to advance her partisan agenda, I'm proud of the fact that I have sent bipartisan bill after bipartisan bill to the governor's desk to make sure that our democracy is more accessible, more secure, and stronger than ever before. I've made sure that folks in eastern Montana don't have to drive hundreds of miles just to cast a ballot. I've made sure that our Native American neighbors and friends aren't being disenfranchised through voter suppression tactics. And with 72,000 Montanans who are at risk of losing their ability to vote because of our broken vote-by-mail system, I fought for a fix to make sure that they could vote now and forever. I'm going to help pass a couple bills. They're going to help people vote who probably won't be voting for me this year. And that's okay, because it was the right thing to do. And we should always expect a Secretary of State that puts Montana above their own political career. Folks, we have got a battle ahead of us. We knew that none of this would ever be easy, but together we have always taken on whatever challenges come our way. When a bunch of politicians tried to steal away health care from 90,000 Montanans and shut down our rural hospitals, we fought back and we won. When special interests tried to come into this state and pour buckets and buckets of dark money to try to tell you how you're supposed to think and how you're supposed to vote, we fought back and we won. In the legislature tried to push an agenda that would sell off your favorite places to hike and hunt and fish and explore to the highest bidder, we fought back and we won. And folks, no matter what they throw at us this year, we are going to organize, we are going to vote, we are going to fight back, and we are going to win this November. 17 days away from the most important election of our lifetime. And what happens on November 3rd will depend entirely on the important work that each and every one of you do between now and when the last ballot is cast in this state. So let me ask each and every one of you, will you cast your ballots? Will you volunteer? Will you knock some doors? Will you make some phone calls? Will you fight for our democracy like you never have before? Folks, this is our moment. This is our democracy, and we cannot sit on the sidelines. There is far too much on the line. The work that you all do over the next 17 days will decide whether we have a Secretary of State who is only fought for herself or someone who will always.
I can't feel my fingers. It's all right.
Thank you so much.
That's nice, Bennett. Let me ask you a question. Bennett, don't leave me, baby. I want to roll here. Don't leave me. Just hold on. Just stay right there. Smile at the crowd. Smile at the cars. So, do you have any...
See, we let John Tester know about this being fed to the public, and he did nothing.
Do you? Who would they be? You got both Democrats and Republicans, former Secretary of State Now is the point in time in the schedule where they didn't really tell me what to do. I don't know if I'm supposed to introduce some staff members who are going to come up here. Sandy Lucky, you want to get...
Isn't that guy from Great Falls
No, I get to introduce Ryan.
that's running for lieutenant?
Another Great Falls kid that's done good, I'll tell you that. Look, we all know what Casey did in the legislature last session. He was a leader. He got things done. He got things done by working both sides of the aisle, compromising, and coming up with good pieces of legislation. Now he's running for lieutenant governor, and he will make a great lieutenant governor. Might even be a better lieutenant governor than the current lieutenant governor.
Well, if he's...
Give it up for Casey.
Oh yeah, that guy's a piece of shit too.
Hello, Electric City! Yeah! Alright, folks, I'm going to be brief and I'm going to get right to the chase. It is crunch time, is it not? Are you on the team? I am so excited to be here in front of my hometown to have a conversation about why this is so important. And you know, because many of you know me, that I'm not just up here as a legislator, I'm not up here just as a former teacher, I'm up here as a dad and a husband. And folks, there is so much on the line this cycle, which is why I am so excited to be on the ticket with my friend Mike. Because there has not been an election that we have had a larger dichotomy about what the future of our state looks like. On one side, we have the guy named Gray. A guy who moved here from New Jersey, decided he'd make millions and millions of dollars on outsourcing American jobs, sued you and I to make sure we can't fish outside his multi-million-dollar mansion. Thank God Mike Cooney and Steve Bullock turned him away in 2016, am I right? And we're going to do it again. Now, we did get a little bit of success. He went out there and bought himself a congressional seat, decided he was going to rip a $2 trillion hole in the budget. He decided he hates public education. He decided he's going to do all of these things that are contrary to Montana values, including, which we all know, body slam somebody and lie to the police. We can do better, right? Our Great Falls kids deserve a governor who does not have a mugshot, am I right? On the other side, we have a guy who has dedicated his life to the people of Montana.
We addressed this to this guy about this being served to the Great Falls public,
but has always had our backs.
and he still did nothing.
To protect public lands, fund public education, and do everything we need
Worried
to
about
make sure Montana is a better place tomorrow than
election.
it is today for your kids and my kids and all of our future grandkids. Ladies and gentlemen, the next governor of the state of Montana, Mike Cooney. You're here because you care. And you know what? You gotta be tough to be a Democrat. You gotta be tough to win. I want to say hello to the Schreiner family out there. Hello, Schreiner! Hey, I gotta tell you, Casey and I have been spending a lot of time traveling around this state. We have a simple message.
He's responsible for allowing the natives to go without $80 million this census cycle. Mike Cooney.
You know, Casey and I have worked hard throughout our careers to make sure that elections were fair, that we tear down barriers to keep people from participating in our democratic process. We make sure that
This was addressed to him as well, but he did nothing.
Montana, not special interest out of state people. Our opponent has spent $3.5 million in this campaign so far. He has spent almost $13.5 million in the last 4 years. We need to make sure that he's not successful. We need to beat him in November and send him back to New Jersey. protection made through the legislature. 90,000 people now
We go
have
through again?
access to health care. Our rural hospitals are in strong shape because of that. Our opponent goes to Congress, and what does he do? He votes on legislation that will strip Montanans of the health care that we worked so hard to get. Our health care is not for sale. Our public lands is who we are in Montana. We love to go out. We like to be able to have access to the greatest air and the cleanest water, the best hunting and fishing, and it's right outside our back doors. Our public lands belong to us, and our opponent comes to Montana and sues us to block us from having access to the East Gallatin River, where there is a public fishing site. He goes to Congress. He writes legislation to strip 700,000 acres of its pristine protection, opening it up to anything. And he supports people like Mr. Penley to head the BLM. Mr. Penley thinks that we should sell off all our public lands. Our public lands are not for sale.
They're native lands.
Casey and I are products of the Montana public school system in this state. We were given great opportunities because of the education we received. Every young person in this state should get nothing but the best education in our public school systems. We have fought for that. That's why we're going to bring you a pre-K program in our public school system, because Montanans want it. Our opponent says public education is a monopoly, and he thinks it's just fine to take public dollars away from public education and put it into private education. You know, he supports a school in Bozeman. It's a private school, and if your child has a disability, don't bother to apply, because they don't want that child in their school. Our schools are the great equalizer. We need to continue to invest in our public education system. We're going to do it. Our public education system is not for sale. Folks, I'm going to tell you right now, Greg Gianforte has missed more votes than 93% of his colleagues in Congress. He doesn't even show up. And when he shows up, he's stripping us of our health care. He's trying to block our public lands. He's added $2 trillion to the national debt so he and his fellow millionaires can get a great big tax break. Just what they need. What did we get? We got $2 trillion that our kids are going to have to pay off. Not us, but our kids and our grandkids and perhaps their grandkids. That's not responsible. That's not fiscally responsible. Casey and I will work for you each and every day, and we're going to be there for you. Ladies and gentlemen, we need your help. We need you to vote. We need you to go out and talk to your friends. Are you with us? Are we going to win? Thank you all very much, Cascade County. We're going to need you.
So I got a question for you, Tony, Casey, before you leave. Got a question for you. Is it true that your opponent wants to take public dollars that would normally go to public education and put them into private schools?
Yep.
Tony says that's true. Honk your horn if you play property tax. I just want to tell you something. This guy gets elected governor, your property taxes are all going up, and they're going up big time. Because property tax is what it takes to fund public education. Okay? We need Cooney. We need Casey. Okay? One is the toughest one I've asked tonight. Where are you going to send your opponent?
Back to New Jersey!
Tony and Casey, come on. Now I went back and looked at the schedule I've got back there and realized, as usual, I screwed up. I've got to introduce a person right now that you folks may already have met. His name's Rio. Rio, come up here. And what Rio does is Rio goes out and makes sure everybody votes and reminds people to vote and IDs people and makes sure that those post-it the poll, so everybody that has spoken so far, and a whole bunch of legislators around the state, and the folks that are yet to speak, can get elected. These are the folks behind the scenes that work their butts off and make things happen. Rio wants to say a few things. Rio?
My name is Rio Agar-Chively, and I am one of your organizers here in Great Falls. I wanted to tell y'all about the first time I met Steve Bullock. My 7th grade class was on a trip up to the Capitol, and after an early start and a long day, we found ourselves falling asleep on the floor of the office of the Attorney General, yawning and just trying to stay awake. And in walks Steve Bullock. Like, all he wants to do at 4 p.m. on a weekday is talk to this room full of sleepy 7th graders. So I perk up and I ask him a question. I don't remember what he said, but I remember that he listened. And I remember that after that day, I paid a little bit more attention when I heard the name Steve Bullock on the news. I watched Attorney General Bullock sue to keep dark money out of our elections. Yeah! I watched Governor Bullock work with lawmakers from both parties. Medicaid expansion.
There's a camera.
You know, my mom was an ER nurse for over 30 years. The year I met Steve Bullock, she was working down at Marcus Daly Memorial Hospital in Hamilton. So when I think about the hospitals, the Medicaid expansion saved, I think about the hospital my mom worked in. And Medicaid expansion didn't just save our rural hospitals. I learned from Mom that in emergency medicine, seconds matter. We didn't just save our rural hospitals with Medicaid expansion. Medicaid expansion is saving lives every day, every hour in the state of Montana. So that kind of leadership. That's why I asked my folks to vote for Steve Bullock in 2012. That's why I went to work to re-elect him in 2016. And that's why I'm standing here today, working to send him to the United States Senate. But the hard truth is here, our team here in Great Falls can't do that without your help. I need your help. The governor always says that elections are about people talking to people. And there is nothing more important we can do right now than get out, make phone calls from home, and remind people to return their absentee ballots. Now, so I'm grateful that y'all set aside some time today to come down and see our candidates. I'm asking you now to make an hour every day between now and election day to get on the phone from home. I know it's hard, and I know you're busy, but again, this is the most effective thing we can be doing, and besides, how can you say no to these great candidates, this great slate of statewide candidates that you see? This election is going to be way too important just to watch on TV, so flag us down. I think you've all gotten some of these sheets coming on in. You should have them in your cards, fill them out, mark down the times, flag me down, I'll be out there. Dave's right here waving a clipboard. Look for us with the clipboards, flag us down, we'll get you signed up. Thank you so much.
Got two left, folks. They're both running for federal office. The first one's running for the United States House of Representatives. She's a lady that has been shot just before and came damn close. She's somebody that believes in public education. She believes in affordable, accessible health.
Right now at the Montana State Prison, Shelby, they are, since June, we've been addressing this issue that the prisons have been infected with COVID. So the Cascade County Detention Center sent infected individuals to the institutions throughout Montana, and now they have spiked in numbers, and there have been the Department of Corrections has been lying since June about the infections that have been riddling the institutions and all the institutions that hold wards of state. We've been addressing this issue in regards to the census to Mike Cooney, to Bullock, to all the individuals, Kathleen Williams, you know, about the injustices that have been happening towards Native Americans, especially those in Billings who have been being murdered by police officers, clips of bullets emptied out into them. These are Native Americans. Cole Stump was just recently murdered by police officers. They painted him out to be a bad guy, and this is how they do it. They use the media, because the media, these criminal justice reporters, go with the information that the cops give them. So the cops always provide false information to make them look like the victims, and people who are unarmed, you know, trying to live their life, especially Native Americans in Billings. And this ain't the only shooting. There have been a lot of shootings happening, a lot of people getting killed in Billings. There have been people here getting killed at the Cascade County Detention Center that are using drugs to drug Native Americans, specifically targeting the homeless community, those with addiction, those with mental illness, Mexicans, black people, those who are in a vulnerable position that cannot leave the institution to speak out. We are here today to speak out. The scandal that happened in 2007 with these 74 department heads, guards, managers, administrators, board members, committee members, have now elevated through the ranks, and our wardens, they sit on boards. They keep our Native people in the prisons through Shelley Stye, the first woman exalted ruler that is with the Deer Lodge Elks Club and the American Legion. She's responsible. There's a lot of people in there right now, especially Native Americans, that are parole eligible, and they refuse to let them out. And these are the people that are doing this. The warden, the directors, Shelley Stye, Crystal Thompson, Larry Pasha, who has cases in federal court for sexually assaulting Native American inmates. These employees that elevated through the ranks have been covering it up. This is where the reform needs to happen, is within the Department of Correction, these 74 individuals, they target Native Americans. In the policies they developed, Colleen Ambrose has fast-tracked a hair policy that they can cut a native's hair without reason and without any ramifications. This is a legal policy. They have a Eagle Feather repository through Terry Stefano, the religious activity director, at the prison, feathers that were confiscated by Native American inmates, broken, destroyed, and they still have them at the prison when they're supposed to send them to the federal repository. And this is under the direction of Terry Stefano. We've been on Reginald Michael to address these issues. They receive funding for COVID, but they have not been providing medical assistance. They have not been providing proper PPE. They have 28 infected in D unit in Deer Lodge right now, and that's just one unit. The other units are infected as well. They are going to be releasing a statement on Monday so that they are not held liable. And this stems from Jesse Slaughter transporting infected inmates to the institutions throughout Montana. They had a plan in 2009 when the H1N1 came out on what they would do in this instance if another virus broke out. And it was all for public safety, because the Department of Corrections and the institutions such as prisons, jails, treatment centers, anybody who's a ward of state, those are the main factors of infecting communities. They do it through the guards coming into work. Those guards go out to their families go see people, they go to stores and they infect people that way. This was determined back then when the H1N1 broke out, that the prisons and the jails were going to be the main contributing factor that the communities throughout Montana would break out. So these lies have been covered up by these 74 Department of Corrections who are in these positions that make these decisions. This scandals and everything else that they do is covered up by the public information officers, legal department, and those spokesmen for the governor's office and the sheriff's association. Those inmates were sent intentionally to send a message to Bullock that there's been a feud between the sheriff and the Department of Corrections for the Department of Corrections director's position.
As long as we got this going, Kathleen, I just want to recap some of the things you said. Did you say that your opponent voted against?
I am a Democrat.
And he voted against.
Been a Democrat all my life. I voted these people in hopes that they would help our Native people who are being murdered, who are coming up missing, who are being mistreated by officers here in Great Falls, Montana. Just recently we had an officer who rolls around and he targets the Native community, the homeless community downtown here in Cascade County. He provides false information, makes charges that he knows that they can't beat because of the position that they are in. They have no means to fight the system because they have no money. It costs money for defense. They get these public defenders who railroad their clients and force them to make plea deals while they suppress evidence and hold it against
him. Say one thing about his opponent, and his opponent likes to put out press releases. As far as getting things done, not so much. Give it up for Steve Bullock.
So great to be here with you. Look, how many times have you heard, this is the most important election in our lifetime? You know what?
For white people,
this is the most important election in our lifetime.
Not for natives. Liar.
Not only are all these fine candidates you've heard from tonight on the ballot, health care's on the ballot, Social Security and Medicare's on the ballot, public education is on the ballot, our public lands are on the ballot, support for our small
not your land, it's native land
on the ballot. This is the most important election in our lifetime. We brought Democrats and Republicans together to expand health care for 90,000 Montanans. 20% of rural hospitals at risk of closing. We haven't lost to one. We took on the insurance companies. We took on the drug companies. While Steve Daines voted 5 times to strip away that coverage for pre-existing conditions. Has voted actually to remove Medicaid expansion. We deserve somebody that's going to fight for our interests, not the 700,000 that he's taken from drug companies and insurance companies. Our interests, not the corporate interests and not the special interests.
Our seniors deserve their Social Security and Medicare. That's not a government program. That's a promise from the first time you sign a W-2 paycheck. And guess what? I'll fight to preserve Social Security and Medicare. Senator Gaines not only wants to cut Medicare, he wants to privatize it.
Fight for natives!
He'd be more than happy to cut that payroll tax, which could eliminate Social Security by 2023. You deserve somebody that's going to fight for your interests, not the corporate interests, not the special interests.
What about native interests?
Public education is truly one of our great equalizers. I wouldn't be here were it not for those quality public schools here in Montana.
What about the
Democrats
reservations?
and Republicans together. I know that
You
now
stole from the
each year
tribes.
$175 million is spent on our K-12 system than when I took
What
off.
about 80 million
We
to the
froze
tribes?
college tuition 6 of the 8 years. We made need-based
80
aid
million
possible.
to the tribes that
and
you
on
withheld.
the other side, Steve Daines was the deciding
Across
vote to make
native
Betsy
country
DeVos
throughout
the
Montana.
Education Secretary. At the very same time, he took $80,000 from the DeVos family along the way. He's voted to cut Pell Grants. You deserve somebody that's going to fight for your interests, not the corporate interests and not the special interests. Our small businesses are what drive our downtowns. That's why we brought Democrats and Republicans together, eliminated the business equipment tax for all of our small businesses. We've invested in workforce. We know that's how you build a thriving economy. Steve Daines, these tax cuts that he helped pass, 60 Fortune 500 companies paid zero in taxes, and our kids got $2 trillion in debt. You deserve somebody that's going to fight for your interests, not the corporate interests, not the special interests. Our public lands are truly one of our great equalizers. We all own them equally, and you know what? They're not only important to us as individuals, they're important to our economy. State of 1 million people gets 12 million visitors here. They ain't coming for our Walmarts. They're coming for our public lands, and public lands will never be transferred out of public hands, not on my watch.
Those are native lands,
Steve Daines
not
takes
yours.
a little bit of a different view along the way. Voted for that measure that would actually be the first step toward transferring our public lands. More than happy to support a guy named William Perry Penley, oversight of the Bureau of Land Management, that said our founding fathers never intended for the federal government to hold public lands. He's more than happy to take $50,000 from the Wilkes brothers, $800,000 from out-of-state interests. You deserve somebody that's going to fight for your interests, not the corporate interests, not the special interests. Great Falls and all Montanans certainly support our service members and our veterans. They made promises to us when they came to serve, and we owe promises to them.
You stole money
That's
from
why
them too
we've
through the
actually expanded
census.
healthcare through Medicaid expansion. We've taken the skills that they learned serving our nation, turned it into professional licenses and college credits, provide tax credits for companies that hire our veterans along the way through apprenticeships. Steve Daines, on the other hand, has voted to cut military funding, cut funding for the VA. And when Fox News even reported that the president called our service members suckers and losers, we didn't hear a thing from him. You deserve somebody that's going to fight for your interests, not the corporate interests and not the special interests. We have 17 days. And don't kid yourself, our voice is our vote. Over the next 17 days, your voice is stronger than any corporation, any special interest. That's one of the reasons why, again, bringing Democrats and Republicans together, we actually passed the most progressive laws in the country when it comes to kicking dark money out of our elections. We've kicked foreign money out of our elections. And Steve Daines is in the pocket of the $2 million of corporate PAC dollars that he's taken along the way. When I was suing the IRS for disclosure, he was shielding them. You deserve somebody that's going to fight for your interests, not the corporate interests and not the special interests. So I ask you, what we do over this next 17 days matters. Talk to your friends, talk to your neighbors. Make sure that they recognize that their voice is so much stronger than all those corporate interests in D.C. I know that Washington could work a hell of a lot better if Washington worked more like Montana. There's not going to be one day over the next 17 days that I or any of the other candidates that you heard are going to say, we're done. We don't want to wake up the day after the election saying, if only we had done more, our health care would be protected, our education system would be protected, our public lands would be protected. So I ask you to give a little bit more, make a few phone calls, talk to people along the way. Thank you so much, Great Falls, for coming out tonight. Thanks for what you've done for me in the past. Thanks for what you're going to do over the next 17 days. Let's get those candidates back out here.
There are people dying in buildings and you guys won't help them. Native people. You withheld them millions of dollars from the tribe.
Thank you, Great Falls! Thank you!
Governor Cooney, Lieutenant Governor Cooney withheld $80 million from the Montana tribe. Through the census, through the Department of Corrections. Governor Steve Bullock is ignoring the Native people while he preys on their votes. This whole campaign right here won't answer the Native people who are in distress.
I'm Caroline Bullock. I'm Alex. And I'm Cam. Our dad likes to talk about us. This time, we're going to talk about him. They're teenagers. What could go wrong? My dad loves Montana. Where he grew up. He was raised in a single-parent household and met our mom, Lisa, at the same school we go to. Go Bengals! I love fishing with him. I love running with my dad. He was by my side when I got my first buck. We'll be hiking and he'll always be like, and you know what's great? Every one of us owns these public ways. I'm really proud of the work that he's done for our education system. He's been fighting against secret money in politics since before I was born. Practically since he was born. I love teasing him. When he's talking, he's like this. He does not know how to whisper. This is Steve, boy. Hope they don't bring up the dancing. May not be a great dancer, but he is a great dad. He's doing the best job that he can for my generation and for the generations to come. And if you want to know what kind of senator
have not filled out their ballot.
Hey, Desmond, if that's the view here.
Yeah.
This message.
In Montana, you either embrace our way of life or you get out of our way. We respect the land, respect our right to own a gun, and respect the farmers and ranchers, those who've worked the land for generations. We honor our veterans like my dad and late husband with far more than lip service. And we don't buy the nonsense coming out of Washington. I've spent much of my life protecting what makes Montana special, and I'm not afraid to get my hands a little dirty to get the job done. I'm Kathleen Williams, and I approve this message.
Hey there, I'm Mike Cooney. It's true. Early on, I
Mike
chose
Cooney
to
ripped
dedicate
off
my
Native
life to public
Americans through the
service, but boy,
census through the
I
Department of
dreamt of doing
Corrections.
this instead.
He denied them census forms which ripped off Native tribes throughout Montana.
Affordable health care, protect our public lands, create jobs and opportunity, and to bring Montanans together to get it all done. Because that's really my thing, right?
This one's for the self-starters, and the selfless never stoppers, for the job creators, and the legacy carriers, for the bridge builders, and the problem solvers. This one's for open spaces, honest races, and getting back to basics. For those tired of backroom deals.
What about those people? What about the
Native
Native people?
First.
What about the people in Great Falls who
Secretary of State.
are
There's a lot of noise out there, but it shouldn't be complicated. The Attorney General should be independent. My opponent is a partisan extremist who said he'd rip away healthcare protections and sell off our public lands. I'm Ray Craven. I fought to protect our public lands, and I won. I've sued the feds and won. I will be an independent watchdog. I'll protect our healthcare. I'll stop the price gouging of prescription drugs. It's that simple. Now let's enjoy some quiet.
My opponent's not from Montana. He's from San Diego. That's why I couldn't get a hunting license.
$80 million, Governor
Wasn't for me. From now on up, I work with both parties to protect Montana's wildlife. I'll work to protect health care for folks with pre-existing conditions. Crack down on short-term junk insurance. And investment fraud. So that you can enjoy what really matters.
The vote on Montana schools is far from finished. Unless schools have to write a new chapter. A public teacher and Montana Teacher of the Year knows every child as your next state superintendent, I will advocate for support when you need it most. We can't afford to skip any step in education. Let's start a new chapter for Montana.
We needed this home because we have a lot of veterans here. And it's time to say thank you.
The Veteran Center has been in the making for decades. 60-bed retirement home for veterans.
The government did not have money, but Governor Bullock negotiated the budget of Montana to get money to start the project.
It was a critical difference.
Governor Bullock stepped up to the plate and did everything he could to make this happen. Steve Gaines was one of the people that voted against that.
He voted against it, and that was critical to a small state like this.
He hasn't backed any veterans issues.
But then, of course, when it came time to break ground, he was the first to run out there and get his picture taken.
I was at the groundbreaking, many of us looking at each other and saying, isn't this the same guy that voted against the VA budget? Steve Bullock's the guy that we're going to count on because he's already proven himself.
And no one cares about Montana. No one cares about Montana veterans.
He'll work hard for all Montanans.
Steve Bullock can approve this message.
Protection like you and I. Or Montana State Prison is not giving inmates COVID protection. Two people died today. You understand that boys are giving them COVID protection? We deserve better.
Montana's superintendent should be our state's most vocal advocate.
We know that our kids deserve every opportunity to get the education to allow them to go out into this world and compete with anyone.
We need to invest in our public education, not cauterize it and privatize it.
Whether it's education, good jobs, the freedom to make our own decisions, the freedom to feel safe in our own communities, to have equal access to justice, all of that is about opportunity. And we need to ensure we've got someone in this seat in Congress that's going to foster opportunity for everyone.
We've invested in health care because no one should have to choose between putting food on their table and taking care of their health.
There is a dangerous movement in this country right now to take the struggles of your friends and your family and your loved ones and to use those struggles as an excuse for health insurance companies to rip away their health care.
Fix this patchwork of a healthcare system we've got. Foster opportunity, both economically and for everyone in every way.
The people that are running, they're from our communities, connected to our communities, grew up in our communities, and we understand the needs of our communities.
Our public lands are not for sale. Casey and I have fought hard throughout our careers to protect our public lands, to grow our public lands, and to make sure we Montanans have access to the best hunting and fishing, the cleanest air, the cleanest water.
Stole 80 million from the Montana tribe.
Our public lands, our heritage, our clean air, our clean water, our education system, all that's at stake.
We need someone that's going to represent all of Montana,
including
Indian
natives,
country,
not just white
that is
people.
going to be rooted in the hopes, struggles, and dreams of all
all Montana, because this is still America. Your voice and your vote, they count. Casey and I have fought proud careers to make sure that our elections were determined by true Montanans. That you have the right to vote. We tore down barriers to voting. Will you cast your ballots? Will you fight voter suppression? Will you fight like our democracy is not?
Kanye West for president.
At least every 2 years, we're stronger than any corporation. We're stronger than any special interest. And that's on election day. And your vote is your voice.
Our vote is our voice, but you don't hear us when we vote you in. Go here, native. $80 million is what Bullock, Mike Cooney withheld from the census, with the help of Jason Smith, the director of Indian Affairs. He withheld that information.
Oh, come on.
And he lied and tried to save his job. That's not okay.
Montana State Prison is killing its inmates because they don't have
Fucked up, they're fucking ignoring those fuckers in Billings, man.
I know.
They need to be fucking doing that to our people. Doesn't matter what tribe you're from. People are dying from this fucking man.
Yeah, they don't give a fuck though. They don't care about nobody but themselves. Yeah, they don't care about nobody but them fucking selves. Coward ass punks.
People are dying.
I know. Coward ass motherfuckers are.
My name is Josh Butterfly. I am with Opening Doors here in Great Falls, Montana. We have been having people reach out to us regarding the treatment of Native Americans at the hands of police department, probation officers, businesses such as Boston's Pizza, Big O Tires, Sandrock Development, who are abusing probationers, who are trying to be successful, who are trying to make it out here. They use that status against them to get them to do stuff beyond the scope of their duty. Our native people are dying across the state. These people aren't doing nothing. Paul Stump did not have to die. And we will not be quiet until he seeks justice. All these native people that
that are killed. We're not going to stop. You're not going to kill our people no more. And it ain't your fucking land.
Oh, that's ours?
A little bit.
Alright, that's
I
alright.
want to get it on your lap.
Oh, fuck, here's your things.
Where'd they go? Fucking
Yeah.
cowards.
They all went into that building over there.
Which one?
They went into that building.
Are they still in there?
I don't know if they left or not.